Welcome to Anchored at Home podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Andrea.
My name's Malcolm. I'm foremost a husband, father, love Jesus. My passion outside of home is dentistry. I'm a surgical focused dentist. I focus solely on full mouth rehabilitation surgeries. Believe it or not, I'm the easygoing one, more the spur of the moment, relaxed, especially whenever I'm not in the clinic. And so I'm the one that kind of messes up the routine.
And I'm a stay-at-home mom who loves all things organized and very structured. So I'm definitely the planner in our family. I'm not as spur of the moment or outgoing as Malcolm. I have a backup plan for our backup plan. And so we're just excited that you're joining us on this journey as we launch this podcast. Our hope is to encourage you to be focused, joyful, and content in your home first, and then to carry that foundation into other areas of your life.
So whether we're talking about faith, family, marriage, parenting, or just everyday life struggles, we hope that the conversations are encouraging, that they challenge you, and they remind you that a strong home can have a lasting impact beyond your four walls and just beyond your very foundation that you're at. Whenever you have a strong home, it allows you to step out into the world and make a true impact. So just to share a little bit about us, my wife and I, we've been married for coming up on 15 years.
15 years. Time really does fly when you're doing life together.
Having fun, huh?
We have 3 children, ages 7, 10, and 14.
We are located in the greater Nashville area. We came to Tennessee mostly for education about 12 years ago, you would say. About 12 years ago, we fell in love with it. We love the community. We love the Southern charm. And it just became a place that we just felt like it was home. And we came from Northern Virginia and just never left.
Yep.
So enough about us. We want to dive into what's our goals and why we're creating this podcast and a place where we really want to talk about being anchored at home and why we feel like that's important to us. So our goal for the podcast is to create just an open space for families to come, whether you have kids or not, whether you're newlyweds or you're vets in marriage. We're looking to build a diverse community that puts God first and families first. That means being honest in struggles and working through tough things to better our families and to ensure that we can make a huge impact that starts really just by building a healthier home. One of the most important things that we want you to take away is that we want everyone to be focused on being Christ-centered. And that way we can see Christ as the anchor for our home and the strength through our highs and lows. And if we are to be anchored at home and we have Christ as our foundation, and we just want to make sure that as a family, whenever we're leaving our home, that we're not anchored in other things like materialism or cultural norms, that we can be happy and content from within our four walls. Because if you're happy and content at home, then that allows you to step outside of your home and do everything that God's calling you to do.
Absolutely. And so some may wonder, what does it mean to be anchored at home? And I can say for us, it means being firmly secured, stabilized, and based on a solid foundation. And our solid foundation is Christ. He's our everything, like everything. As individuals, and in addition to being a spouse and a parent. And so really your home should be your safe space. You should feel peace and joy there. It should be where we feel the most comfortable and relaxed, a place where challenging conversations are welcomed. Any conversation or question our children may have, I want them to always know and feel that our home is our safe space. Although our middle son, that man lets Christ be his anchor any and everywhere. He does not mind to ask or have conversations anywhere, anytime. And I just believe that's because he has been able to experience Christ as his anchor at home, at a place where he feels most comfortable.
I also believe that your safe place is also a place where you can have some of those more difficult conversations that maybe you don't want to have in public, or you don't want to have to walk out in front of other people. At home, you shouldn't feel like you have to put on an armor, right? Like you should feel that whenever you walk into your home, if you have to have armor on out in the world, whenever you come home, especially, as you walk home and you run into your spouse, you want to feel like you can just take everything off.
Yeah.
You can let them know how your day was. You can be open. You can be honest. And so really, when you're anchored at home, it has to be your safe place, not only for us, but also for our kids. Schools are tough, whether it can be bullying or just struggles that they're going through, going from grade to grade, from middle school to high school, from elementary school to middle school. All of those things can be tough. And so creating a safe place that even your kids feel like they can come home and they can talk and they can open up, where they're not going to be judged or pushed to the side, that you're truly there to listen.
Yeah. And I would say for me as a wife and a mom, a Bible verse that encourages me daily is Proverbs 14, verse 1. And it says, "The wise woman builds her house, but the foolish pulls it down with her hands." And also, I just think about in Titus chapter 2, where it talks about women being nurturers for their husbands and children. And in that chapter, it says that as a wife and a mom, I am to love my husband and children. And so, what better way to love you guys than to seek the Lord daily and allow for Him to be an anchor for myself as well as our home? And so, being able to create that for you and the kids, it truly allows for us to be able to have those meaningful conversations.
Yeah.
And I love how those conversations lead to countless opportunities for us to grow in God's word and just allowing Him to be an anchor as a family. And it encourages the kids as well to allow Him to be an anchor for them as individuals.
For me, I would say as a husband, the Bible verse that comes to mind is more so like 1 Timothy 3, 4, and 5. It says, "He should be a good leader in his home. His children must obey him and respect him. If a man cannot be a good leader in his own home, how can he lead in the church or in the world?" So I just think it's important because it talks more so about the importance of being anchored at home. If you can't lead your home to Christ first, if you can't make an impact in your home first, and that's not your first ministry, then you really can't step out into the world and let God use you in the world, whether that be in business or it be in your career field.
Mhm.
It's really hard to separate those things, where you have a great business or you have a great life outside of the home, but whenever you come home, it's a shipwreck, right?
Yeah.
And so by starting at home and having your foundation firm, just speaking for me, like even back whenever I was going to dental school, it was easy for me to achieve my dream at the time because I felt like at home, I knew that you had my back on everything. Like, even though I wasn't working, you were like, "Hey, I got it for this season. Like,
Yeah.
I can take care of this while you're in school." And all of that made a huge impact on me. It made me almost fearless as a husband. And I feel like it's like that for everybody in our family. If they feel that we have their back or we're backing them, it gives them the ability to step out into the world fearless, knowing that if they do fail, they have a place that they can come back home. That's a safe place for them, that
Yeah.
they know that's where their anchor is. And so that verse really just means a lot to me. It reminds me of the impact that we make, not only just by having a really comfortable home where our kids feel open to talk, but if you can't lead well there, you can't really truly, you can maybe fake people, but you can't lead well everywhere else.
Yeah. Well, that's your first ministry is at home. And so if God can't trust you there, how is He going to trust you to lead anywhere else?
I think for me, like for this to work, it has to start with you, right? Like it can't be like I'm waiting on my spouse to change and try to make this a safe place. I'm waiting for my kids. They're not good listeners. They're not doing what I want them to do. They're not acting how I want them to act. The change has to start with you. So as I say, if you want change, you have to be the change, right? So you have to start by keeping your standards and your biblical foundation. You have to do it consistently, because we know that out in the world, everybody can put on a show, right? Like we can see it on Instagram. We can see it on Reels. We see all the great things that people are doing, but we don't really know the work that, one, it took them to get there, or if that's truly what their life is like, or if this is just a highlight reel or a fake shot that is just, giving them some type of adrenaline because everybody else is seeing it, right?
Yeah. Instagram's the perfect picture.
Yeah. And sometimes they take
social media
50 or 60 pictures just to get that one. And so I think for me, just walking away and just saying, hey, if I know that my family is safe within our home and they know that it's a place that they can always come back to, and there's always something there to build them up, and we're pulling them back to Christ, right? And we're trying to walk with them through their struggles. We're walking with each other through our struggles. And I'm blessed to say that even in mine as a husband, like I can know that my wife in my tough times, when she knows I'm really down and out, she's going to try to pull me back to God. And it takes a lot of pressure off of ourselves whenever we're like, hey, we're anchored at home, but our anchor's Christ. It's not in anything that we're doing special. There's nothing special about Andrea or myself that makes us even want to start this podcast. We just felt like it was a space that was missing that families need and that we wish that we had.
Right.
And so we're saying, hey, how can we just step aside from ourselves and say, in the midst of our lives being busy, it's not that we need one more thing to do, right? Like
Sure
we got
don't.
kids in middle school, high school, elementary school, all of them playing sports. And so if you guys are in that season, we're there with you. Just in saying that, our main goal is like, let's just make sure that we're Christ-centered. Joshua 24:15, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And I think if we all start there, just focusing on our house and how we want to serve God, that's how we truly get anchored at home.
Yes. And, we know as parents that God holds us accountable to lead our kids in the way that He's called us to lead them. And so that's just by teaching him His word daily. In order to do that, we have to know His word for ourselves. And so I just love that in every conversation, and I'm going to be honest because it is hard and challenging, but I feel that in every conversation, we should strive as parents to include His word a part of that conversation. It just gives us the opportunity to continue to grow and for our kids to grow and to be able to know His word. For me, being a wife and a parent are just two of my favorite roles, and I think they're very important ones. And so I just believe, whenever you're blessed to be able to have those roles, I feel like you have to do it wholeheartedly. In anything that you do or God calls you to be a part of, you have to do it in excellence. And I should have mentioned this in the intro about me, but I'm all about doing things in excellence. I'm not perfect, and I never will be, but excellence, that's something that's definitely a standard for me in all that I do.
Just to hike off of what you were saying earlier, being a mom or having those titles, it's not anything to sleep on, or being a dad and trying to face the world and also coming home and trying to teach your kids and lead them and help them with homework duty and all of these things. They throw wrenches in sometimes what our goals are.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a goal until hard things happen. And even, the famous Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. And I feel like that is something that daily happens to marriages, families. You're always going to have some type of combat that comes at you each and every day. And a lot of people will say, don't over spiritualize it. Like, we're going through spiritual warfare, but it is something spiritual.
It really is.
And you have to be able to respond to it. And one of the best things that I think that has helped us, especially over the years, because it hasn't always been where we felt anchored at home. Like, it hasn't always been like we felt like home was our safe place, or we felt like I know my wife has my back, or I know my husband has my back no matter what's happening, right? And so these are things that we've had to grow into and that God is still maturing us through. And some of it will walk out live, even on this podcast sometimes when we're sharing stories and we're walking through our lives and talking about difficult conversations that we're having to have with our kids or with one another. And how do you grow through those things?
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe that's what true anchored at home, truly what we're trying to do on this podcast is just being open and transparent, right?
Absolutely.
And our biggest call to action and what we want everyone to walk away with today is the question, am I anchored at home? Right? Like, yes, it's the name of the podcast, but we want you to really, in the next few weeks, we want you to really dive into that and think to yourself, am I really anchored at home? Do I feel safe? Do I feel that I can be myself? Do I feel like I can take my armor off? Do I feel like I can share my dreams and my secrets and all the struggles that I've gone through? Can I share that with my spouse? Can I lead my kids unapologetically? right? Where I don't have to feel bad about correcting them. And it also, think those same questions for your spouse and for your kids. Do they feel like that? Because you may feel great. And I can say that even for myself. There's been times where I've been there where my wife's like, I can tell you're happy and things are great for you, but like, what about the rest of us? Like, you're so busy doing X, Y, Z. And that is not only a man thing, but that a lot of men fall into that when they're trying to provide for their families. They get so entangled in their business and what they're doing outside of the house that they forget this first ministry.
Yeah, I think these are great questions, not only to ask yourself, but like you were saying, for people to talk to with their spouses about and just really take some time to go through it. You may not be able to answer it in one conversation. You may have to ask the question and kind of come back to it. And so as we wrap up today and we continue on this journey together, our hope is to come alongside of you as you build healthy, life-giving practices in your home. We want to encourage you as you grow and being more deeply anchored in Christ, connected as a family, and intentional about creating a home where faith is lived out every day. We hope you enjoyed our first podcast, and we look forward to next month and heading into meaningful conversations that encourage all of us to be anchored at home.
So until next time,
stay anchored.
Thank you for listening to the Anchored at Home podcast.
Please like and subscribe.
Thank you very much.